Hey guys, what's going on? I'm attorney Kyle Kaufman. I'm a lawyer at www.hkklawoffices.com. We're a law firm in Sheboygan, Wisconsin and Random Lake, Wisconsin. In this video, I'm going to talk to you about the difference between child custody and child physical placement. What I want you guys to do is hit the subscribe button here down below and the like button, because we're going to be making more content and videos like this that are going to bring value to you. What's the difference between child custody and child physical placement? Here we go. All right, let's get into the difference here. So child custody, child placement. What I hear a lot of times is this. If you're sitting together with a friend or something like that at a coffee shop, you might say, hey, I have full custody of my kids, or I've got shared custody of my kids. A lot of times, what people mean by that really is the amount of time that they're spending with their children. But from a legal standpoint here in Wisconsin, where I practice, child custody has to do more with decision making. There's two types of custody you can have in Wisconsin. At our law firm, we talk to our clients about this, the initial consultation when they come in, and of course while we're helping them in their case and identifying what their goals are. So you can have sole legal custody, you can have joint legal custody. Those are the two kinds, all right? So let me tell you about sole legal custody. That means you're gonna make all the decisions for your children. We're talking about minor children, we're talking about parents now that are in a pending divorce action, maybe through a temporary order, or after a final judgment in a divorce matter. This also could be in the context of a paternity case, all right? So really, anytime we have minor children and we have a non-intact family is when we're talking about child custody and child placement. All right, back to sole legal custody. So the custodial decisions that a parent might make relate to things like this: school, medical care, religion, and non-school activities. It's really those four major categories that most parents are dealing with respect to minor children. Let's break that down a little bit. School decisions are things like, what school will my child attend? Will it be a private school or a public school? What school district? What town might it be in? All right, those are some of the custodial decisions that are made with respect to school. There also could be other school decisions though, such as like, does my child attend virtual school or school taught at home? We're dealing with this pandemic and we've seen a lot of that, right? That was a newer thing because generally speaking, we had kids in school. There was only a handful of kids really that would be taught at home, right? Okay, so there's school decisions. It could be evaluations at school that sometimes come up as topics. If you have sole legal custody, you're gonna be the parent that you're going to consult with the other parent, get their opinion on it, but ultimately you decide that issue, okay? With joint legal custody, that's where both parents talk about it, decide together, give the input to the school, and make the decision together. Medical care, what type of doctor the child is going to have, the pediatrician the child's going to see, at what facility, that would be giving consent to do non-emergency medical care, dental care, things of that nature. Non-school activities would be things like, is your child going to be involved in a club or a sport or things of that nature? And are we going to pay the fees for that? Okay. State of Wisconsin prefers joint legal custody. We want two qualified parents, two parents that are fit and able to parent their children. That's what the state of Wisconsin wants. That's what our society wants, is two parents contributing to the best interest of that child. There are some scenarios though where sole legal custody is awarded to a parent. It's not as simple as saying I want it, or I've been the parent who made most of the decisions. You have to prove to the court that there's a good, valid reason for it. One reason might be domestic abuse or violence. It could be that there was a restraining order in place that prevents the parents from talking, or some other order that breaks down the communication. Now, to get more into the specifics of that, you would call somebody like me, a family law lawyer who specializes in divorce, to speak specifically about your circumstance, and then we can tell you if your fact scenario fits the law and if sole custody or joint legal custody is right for your situation. All right, so that's custody, decision making, right? Physical placement is what we're talking about, is when the children spend time with a parent and where, okay? So a lot of times too, you hear people say, hey, 50-50, I want 50-50. Well, what they're talking about is sharing placement. Generally speaking, a court's going to look at a 2-week cycle, 14 days, and they're going to say, how do we divide this up between the parents in that 2-week cycle? So there's different types of physical placement. There's equal shared placement, which means each parent essentially has 7 days of placement. Generally speaking, we start by counting the overnights. You could have a shared placement situation, which means that a parent in Wisconsin, we define it as a parent having 25% or more of the time. Okay, and a primary placement would be any parent who has 51% or more of the time. Now, how you divide that up is unique to each case. And again, that's something you talk to a lawyer about as to what's best for your scenario. A lot of times you might see parents saying, well, you take a weekend, I take a weekend, and then they're talking about how to divide up the weekdays. And there's a lot of different ways that parents do that. Courts will generally approve what parents agree to do if the parents agree to it. If the parents do not agree to it, that's where a court will hold a hearing and essentially make a decision, and with a recommendation made by a guardian ad litem. That's an attorney who specifically represents the child or children in the action. So the major difference here, I want to get back to this on custody and physical placement, okay guys, is this. Custody is about decision making, all right? Physical placement is where the kids live and when, all right? And which parent and then what happens, okay? So I hope that's helpful for you, and I hope that this video brought a lot of content for you and maybe raised some questions. So reach out to us, reach out to a lawyer, get some education on this before you walk into a courtroom alone. We're hkklawoffices.com. I'm attorney Kyle Kaufman, and it's really good to see you guys. I'll see you in court.